Paul's a big Everton fan who's been waiting very patiently. Paul, I don't know where to start, mate. If you've got the right question for me, tell me and I'll ask you it. Where is your head with all of this, Paul?
Busy weekends, put it that way.
I can imagine. I can imagine. Has Simon cleared the waters a bit more for you in the last hour or so?
Yeah, perfectly. I mean, the way we're going to look at it is we had a manager who went out and he was spent money like a kid in a sweet shop, buying players here, there and everywhere. And unfortunately, it's come back home to roost.
An owner, you mean? An owner. In Mashiri, you mean? Right.
Well, yeah, I mean, ultimately, I can't knock Mashiri for putting the money into the club that he did. I mean, because there's certain owners out there that wouldn't do that. However, I mean, we've been caught with our pants down. We've had a spanking. We got a 10-point deduction. We take it on the chin. We move along. We galvanise. I wouldn't want to be Man United coming to Goodison on Sunday because I tell you something, they're going to go away with a flea in the ear.
That's what you said, Simon.
Absolutely.
You agreed. Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, I mean, the very fact you can laugh, Paul, are you speaking for other Evertonians, or is there doom and gloom around the place? Or is there, as you suggest, a galvanising of spirit?
Let's be honest, it can't get any worse. I mean, as Simon pointed out before, it's not the worst outcome in the world getting the 10-point deduction of where we are in the league at the moment. However, I mean, what happens is we go to an appeal, we get an extra 2 points possibly, we might get it overturned and get it reduced to 5-point deduction. You know, but from here on forward, we've just got to carry on moving, move forward, get everyone behind the team, and I tell you something, we're gonna climb up the league. No way are we gonna get relegated this season. But the main item for this call was these three teams that are potentially looking to bring litigation against Everton. Surely it's got to be against the Premier League for them dragging their heels for so long, dragging past from last season into this season. So Everton have held their hands up. They said, look, okay, fair enough, we've done something wrong. But these three teams that got relegated have got a cause against the Premier League.
Why do you think that, Paul? Because Everton submitted their accounts on the basis of a 3-year period, advanced them, debated them, defended them. It's only because the Premier League investigated them and then re-investigated them and then decided that they had a case to answer. Because at any given time, Everton in the last 2 or 3 seasons, if they got this 10-point penalty, would have been relegated in those seasons. So would that have been a better outcome for you?
No, because I do apologise. The point I'm trying to make was it was the FA that have dragged their heels over this, making sure the T's were crossed, the I's were dotted. Okay, and it's down to the Premier League because they could have started it last season and hit us with a 10-point deduction. Ultimately, we probably would have gone down.
But Paul, what you're saying is we will pull together. We wouldn't like to be Manchester United coming to our place at the weekend, and we will get there. That's the message, right?
Oh, definitely, right. Without a shadow of a doubt. We will get 3 points on Sunday.
Thanks for the call. Gary's another Evertonian who's been waiting patiently. I want to squeeze you in because you've been patient enough with us. Gary, good morning. Do you agree with Paul? Everyone's going to come together now, 10-point deduction or not.
What a caller that Paul was, by the way. I'm buzzing off his
positivity
over this.
Yeah,
they definitely have picked on the wrong club. I just want to give you a different thing that no one's really talked about. I want to talk about the enforcement model and also the fact that the innocent Everton fans are the ultimate victim over this. So I want to give a really balanced viewpoint. So I'm going to, even though I've been a season ticket holder for 35 years, I'm going to start with against Everton. Like Paul just said, we're guilty of breaking the rules around sustainability. Therefore, we deserve some level of punishment. I totally get if other fans, relegated fans over the last few years, feeling aggrieved. There's some type of injustice for them. What no one's mentioned, if you're relating to this to any previous, to any judicial setting, there's always a victim's personal statement on the impact against the crime, against the person or the body. I don't think all previous relegated clubs and Everton fans' views are being taken into account. And this is in some way Everton knew the rules, what they meant to comply with. But however, what hasn't been discussed is for Everton, there's no enforcement strategy on these type of things within the Premier League. The independent commission only give judgment on the 10 points deduction, not why they come to the conclusion of the 10 points and why that's a fair and reasonable sanction. When the so-called Big Six tried to break away from the European Super League, they give a small financial penalty. I think they didn't want to hurt the innocent fans. The last 2 points are the most important ones. The Everton fans have been protesting against the current board for at least 18 months. Most official fan groups and Everton shareholders had a vote of no confidence in the current board. I can't see any reference to this in the Independent Commission report. And the final thing, and the most important thing, and I'm really interested to get Simon's viewpoints on this. As far as I'm concerned, the group hit by this the most are the innocent fans, not the people who were the controlling mind of the company, which was the board. So individuals on the Everton boards.
But if you're Gary, if you're Mashiri, who's the predominant controlling influence, you're gonna have lost 500 million quid.
Yeah, it's a good point.
So he will be in a different way, not because of the emotional investment, but from the commercial side of things. He's a businessman. I don't think it's his money anyway. I've always thought it's Usmanov's money, but that's a different discussion, right? But the point of this is that he will have some form of suffering. Not as much as you guys, because he doesn't eat, sleep, breathe, and whatever else, Everton. He bought it as a vehicle for some opportunity for himself in a longer game that's now proved to be a nightmare for him because he's mismanaged it. He will lose hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions of pounds out of that. And some people will say, well, that's the cost of the ticket. On the same side, if it had got it right, Everton fans would have enjoyed the upside of his money. So you have to take, with the nature of football, it's an imperfect circle. It's the nature of the beast. You have to take the ups with the downs. You'd have all taken all of the glory if he'd have spent £1 billion, not got caught in sanctioning and won you the Premier League. The flip side of it, he's got it wrong. He's going to suffer. The fans are going to suffer. Yeah. The most important thing is that Everton stay in the Premier League this season.
That's more than fair, is it not, Gary? Yeah. More than fair.
Well, it's fair in one way, but what isn't it? He sells the club. And then there's no sanctions on him starting another business or creating another business within the UK. How's that fair, Simon?
Well, first and foremost, he's only breached the internal regulations of an industry. He hasn't broken the law, so he's not going to be sanctioned for breach of fiduciary responsibilities as a director. He's not going to be disqualified from that point of view. But what I would say to you is if he popped himself up as an owner of a football club again and put himself in front of the Premier League board and a fit and proper persons test, he might have his work cut out. So he would be sanctioned on that basis.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.